Coming up on Chris 6 Sunrise, Israel and Iran have agreed to President Donald Trump's ceasefire, although it appears both may have already violated it. Scripps News Group Joe St. George is going to be joining us this morning with the very latest.
Tensions overseas, quiet watchfulness here at home. I'm Suzanne Stevens with the U.S. Coast Guard is doing behind the scenes and why Coastal Bend residents may already be feeling the impact.
A late-night decision by Governor Greg Abbott has local business owners breathing a sigh of relief.
Oh, so thankful. So thankful.
I'm Adam Beam with the latest on Senate Bill 3.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Chris 6 Sunrise. Thank you so much for waking up with the Hoffmans. I'm Michelle Hoffman.
And I'm Brian Hoffman. Yeah, it's a pretty bright morning so far, even with all of the tensions in the Middle East we're going to get to. But right here at home, it's shaping up to be pretty nice, 75 degrees out. But how is the rest of the commute and the weather looking like? Hey, Julia Quady joins us live. Hey, Julia.
Hey there, good morning, you guys. So things are shaping up to look really good this morning, traffic-wise and forecast-wise. We know we need rain back in the forecast here in the Coastal Bend, and things are finally shaping up to see that we're going to get that later on today and heading towards the midweek as well. But let's go ahead and get towards that traffic for what you can expect heading out the door. Moving from Portland, heading to the Harbor Bridge in both directions, looking at pretty easy driving conditions right now. Moving now towards downtown, all clear on Ocean Drive, down to SPID and Saratoga with no traffic issues in sight on any of those three roadways right now. Then heading on over towards Flower Bluff, again, all clear on all those roadways. Walton Road, all shades of green there, and on Flower Bluff Drive. As you start to approach the gate, though, at NAS Corpus Christi, you can expect a bit of a little congestion there, now building to slower speeds right now as you start to approach the gates, so just keep that in mind if you're going to be heading in that direction this morning. Now heading on over to lastly to the JFK Causeway, going to and from the island, again looking at very easy driving conditions with no traffic issues heading on that bridge this morning. Now again, I'll have more details on our rain chances that look to be improving ahead for us today and extended towards the midweek, and my full forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Julie, thank you. We're going to get to your neighborhood news in just a little bit, but first, the latest on the ceasefire between Iran and Israel. So even though Israel and Iran have announced that they accepted a ceasefire plan by President Trump, both Israel and now Iran are claiming that both of them have violated that ceasefire since it began. So Iran is denying the claims. President Trump announced that the ceasefire agreement between the two on his Truth social media platform. So Trump said there would be a complete and total ceasefire for 12 hours. He said that the point the war will be considered ended at that point, rather. So Scripps News Group, Joe St. George, he's going to be joining us live at 6:12 with the very latest on both sides.
The House and Senate will receive a classified briefing on the conflict in Iran this afternoon. The meetings come after the U.S. bombed 3 Iran nuclear sites over the weekend, and Tehran responded by launching missiles at American military bases in Qatar. Those missiles were successfully intercepted, and no casualties were reported. Lawmakers have been at odds over U.S. involvement in Iran, and Republicans have largely backed Trump's bombings, while Democrats have been largely critical of the move. 2 representatives have introduced a resolution to prohibit U.S. involvement in Iran.
While the headlines focus on war, people here at home are asking what it means to them.
Are gas prices going to go up because of gas, of that? Or
Maybe.
we're going to have a hard time finding some?
Is that what you're concerned about?
Part of it, too.
And that worry is already showing up at the pump. In Corpus Christi, gas prices have jumped nearly 25 cents in the last week, now averaging around $2.83 a gallon. Crude oil prices are also fluctuating, rising more than 7% Sunday, only to drop again 24 hours later.
I'm watching gas prices spike from $2.20 and all the way to $3 back to $79. Man, that's what everybody seems to be talking about is, oh my God, Iran, they're bombing and this, that, and the third. I'm just trying to make it from day to day.
I'm your neighborhood news reporter, Adam Beam. I've reported on Senate Bill 3 when it was in the House and bound for the governor's desk. Now what was planned as a full statewide THC ban is heading back to the drawing board.
Just before the midnight hour, Governor Greg Abbott turning the tables on Senate Bill 3. The legislation, pushed heavily by Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, would have seen a ban of all THC and hemp-based products statewide. Governor Abbott citing existing abuses of the law going unaddressed. The future of Senate Bill 3 during the special session isn't known, but there's optimism it will be reworked with a new focus on regulation.
Through testing, through products, ages, basically a lot more, structure around the entire program.
The Oakview Group selects Hillard Law as the finalist for the American Bank Center naming rights. The city hired Oakview Group to manage the center. Hillard Law will soon enter into negotiations to formalize an agreement. According to the city, this comes after a comprehensive and strategic search process. The city adds that this is a step forward in establishing a long-term relationship, and of course, more updates will be given at today's City Council meeting.
Hey there, good morning. Happy Tuesday. So waking up, things are going to be off to a dry note, but things will start to get soggy later on this afternoon with some showers that are finally going to make their way to the Coastal Bend, hopefully allowing for us to have a little bit of a nice dip in towards having some more water activity here in the Coastal Bend as we extend towards the midweek. Right now, let's go ahead and get in towards this view. A little bit of a small hint of sunrise just beginning now with those partly cloudy skies. Again, conditions are on a drier note. Shower activity not happening just quite yet. Temperatures reaching towards those 70s, 75 degrees here in Corpus Christi, 76 over in Beeville, 83 in Port Aransas, 75 degrees is your temperature over in Alice. Once again, similar to yesterday, having calm winds passing through our area that will start to increase a little bit as we hit towards the later hours this morning and heading towards the afternoon. Visibility has been a bit of an issue for inland and northern neighborhoods. So over in Beeville as well as Alice, looking at less than a mile visibility right now heading outside your door. So just make sure you're being careful and aware of that. Moving now towards Doppler radar, we can see showers are happening. Just not quite making it here in the Coastal Bend just quite yet. Off towards our Gulf coastal waters at this point. Showers are going to be a little bit more active for areas that are nearby Seadrift and Victoria Crossroads and near towards the Houston area. But again, here in the Coastal Bend, we'll get our fair share some shower activity that will start to build later on this afternoon. This is all thanks to that moisture that's finally now arriving into the area, getting a bit heavy again towards areas that are further up north of the Coastal Bend, but we'll still see again a decent dose of some isolated showers that could be a bit strong and moderate to heavy downpours at times and throughout small periods over our afternoon. And then again, it's going to extend towards Wednesday, so rain chances will be pretty consistent over the next few days and then diminish ahead for us on Friday before increasing yet again towards this upcoming weekend. For our rain chances for today, we'll start to see those begin to increase a little bit after lunchtime and extend towards a little bit towards the evening hours before again our rain chances will decrease, maybe uptick a little bit into the overnight to the early morning hours on your Wednesday. Now, feel like temperatures are still going to be ranging towards that hotter range, even though we will start to see those rain chances begin to increase a little bit during the same period. We'll have hotter temperatures reaching towards those upper 90s to lower 100s for I feel like. So again, even though things are going to be hot, we'll still see again rain chances coming to the forecast later on this afternoon. That's also going to extend towards the midweek, and we'll have more chance to see some rain showers ahead for the weekend.
Coming up on Sunrise, Israel and Iran have agreed to President Trump's ceasefire agreement. Has it held up, though? Scripps News Group Joe St. George will join us with the very latest.
Hey, welcome back, folks. 6:11 this Tuesday morning. You're getting a live look right now from our studio sky cam. Looking pretty beautiful so far, actually, with the sun trying to peek out through there. 75 degrees outside right now. We will check in with meteorologist Julia Quady in just a bit, but first we head to Washington.
That's right. On Tuesday, President Trump announced on his Truth Social platform that there is a total ceasefire agreement between Israel and Iran.
Now, keep in mind, folks, there's been a lot of back and forth between the two countries. So we're bringing in Scripps News Group Deputy Political Director Joe St. George with the very latest. Good morning, Joe. What do you know so far?
Well, we say a lot often things change hour by hour. In this particular case, things are changing minute by minute. It's been a remarkable 48, 72-hour period in the history of the United States involvement in the Middle East, right? Saturday night is when the B-2 stealth bombers dropped bunker-busting bombs Yesterday afternoon is when Iran responded, a relatively muted response, launching missiles toward an American military military installation base in Qatar. For the most part, those missiles were intercepted, no injuries or damages made. Occurring 6 p.m. last night, East Coast time, 5 p.m. your time, President Trump took to social media and announced a ceasefire that was set to take effect in the coming hours. In the run-up to the ceasefire beginning overnight, Israel and Iran continued to battle it out. Israel launched some of their most serious strikes of the entire 12-day conflict. And this is where now it gets interesting, because once the ceasefire took effect, which both sides at least briefly acknowledged, Israel, within the first few hours of the ceasefire, has accused Iran of violating that ceasefire by targeting Israel, launching missiles toward Israel that Israel says they've intercepted. Now Israel is vowing to retaliate. This is a fragile ceasefire at the very latest, and there appears to be frustration on all sides. President Donald Trump just departed the White House. He's wheels up for Europe, where he'll be attending a NATO summit later tonight. But the president did speak with reporters before leaving the White House. He expressed displeasure with the continued attacks post-ceasefire. And he said regarding the Israelis and the Iranians, they don't know what insert the expletive of your choice, they're doing. They don't know what the bleep they're doing. So the president, I think that shows you just how frustrating all of it is that the president's using a profanity at a little after 6:30 local time in the morning here in Washington regarding all of this. So bottom line, what you need to know is that Israel has accused Iran of violating the ceasefire. The ceasefire remains very fragile, and I think these next few hours are going to be very critical in determining whether or not the ceasefire is actually going to be taking place or not. Again, at the top, guys, we said things change hour by hour. In this case, things are changing by the minute.
Well, Joe, thank you so much for following all of this today.
Yeah, we appreciate you keeping us up to date, sir. Have a great rest of your day.
Hey there, good morning. Happy Tuesday. So heading out the door, things are going to be dry for now, but we do expect some showers to hopefully pass through portions of Coastal Bend and through some neighborhoods in an isolated fashion later on today, and certainly by this afternoon. Right now, looking at Doppler radar, you can see that just behind me, a couple showers are happening, but not quite making their way inland just yet. All these showers right now remain to be over in our Gulf Coast waters. It's firstly going to make their way towards areas nearby Seadrift, Victoria Crossroads, maybe even the Houston area. But here in the Coastal Bend, we got to wait on our turn later on this afternoon. So again, see those showers right now bubbling up. Some heavier pockets right now that could pass on by. Again, areas north of the Coastal Bend, but we'll start to see our opportunity to see some rainfall activity later on in the day. Heat is also going to increase for us in the very same fashion that we saw yesterday, reaching towards those upper 80s by noon. Low to upper 90s rather for those feel like temperatures by lunchtime as well. We'll still see our feel like temperatures reaching well and towards the triple digits, still just underneath that criteria though that we will not need any heat alerts thankfully right now. Can't say the same for other portions of the U.S., especially the East Coast with extreme heat warnings going into effect in those areas. But for us here at home, just gonna have that normal type of South Texas heat that we're used to here in the summertime. But we'll be looking at that muggy meter. We can see where that moisture is gonna continue to lag on and stay towards that oppressive or very humid range all throughout this week, even towards the part of this upcoming weekend. So that means our dew point values will continue to range towards those low to mid, maybe upper 70s over the course of our week heading towards the weekend. That's also going to drive towards our rain chances that are increasing today, and that will continue throughout the midweek. Right now, looking at Future Tracker, we can see those showers that will begin to bubble in a little bit past lunchtime. Again, shower activity may be a little bit more prominent for northern areas north of the Coastal Bend, but passing showers throughout portions of San Patricio and Nueces counties by lunchtime that will start to become a little bit more white sled, still isolated in nature though as we look ahead towards later on this afternoon by 2 o'clock. Still some decent pockets of some showers that will pass on through the Coastal Bend that should wrap up by the time we head towards this evening. That's not going to be the the end of our rain chances, I should say. Things still look to be pretty decent for rain chances ahead for us throughout the rest of our week, and definitely increasing for this upcoming weekend to the early part of next week. The only time that we'll be looking at a bit of a decrease of our daily rain chances will really just be on Friday. But again, things will begin to pick up yet again for us heading for this weekend. And moisture isn't the only thing that's driving our rain chances that are beginning today. That are going to extend for this upcoming weekend. We can also thank high pressure for that. That's right now, like I mentioned, giving some really intense extreme heat for areas that are more eastern for the East Coast here in the U.S. But as that pocket of high pressure begins to shrink a bit, that's going to allow for more cloud cover for us here at home and increase our rain chances certainly towards the end of this week and heading towards this upcoming weekend. So again, that's going to also drive towards heat that we're experiencing right now. Again, certainly heavier, more extreme heat for the D.C. metro area, but for us here at home, again, normal type of South Texas heat that's not too far apart for where we should be this time of year as it relates towards our high temperatures. But keep that umbrella on hand for isolated showers that will be continuing throughout the rest of our week, and they'll also head toward this upcoming weekend.
Let's face it, these days there's so many headlines and hot takes that you can find right here at the palm of your hand.
Israel-Iran war. Several countries across World War III.
I'm Michaela Chavez on the South Side, showing you how constant exposure to serious matters could impact your kids.
And it's a place where veterans are honored and memories are made, but lately it's been off limits. But with a drone's eye view, we'll show you the remodeling underway at Sherrill Veterans Memorial Park in a preview of this week's Veterans in Focus coming up.
This is Veterans in Focus, sponsored by the Heil Law Firm, battling for justice, winning for the community.
So many neighbors have been asking me when Sherrill Veterans Memorial Park is opening up again after it was closed off earlier this year for its remodel. While our last report said it's expected to be reopened this summer with its first phase completed by June 2025. But we looked into it with a bird's eye view, and from what we saw, it looks like there's still a lot of work to do. I did talk to City's Parks and Rec Director Robert Dodd for an update on where things stand, and you can catch my full report, including the new timeline and what's still to come tonight at 6 on this week's Veterans in Focus.
Well, if Dollar Tree is one of your favorite places to save some money, you are in luck. Chris Six spotted a new Dollar Tree at the Moore Plaza Center on the city's south side. It'll be taking place of the old Party City. We'll be sure to keep you updated on this development.
All right, now taking a live look outside of our Skycam, our first community bank Skycam off the top of the USF Lexington. We see things are looking to be pretty clear traffic-wise. Clouds in our skies right now. Look at partly cloudy skies for a start on this morning, but those clouds are going to be a positive sign with that increase in moisture, giving us our rain chances coming up in the next few hours. Right now, let's go and take a look at this traffic flow map to get a better idea we expect for your morning commute. And we're rolling over to the Harbor Bridge in both directions. Things are moving pretty well for your start on this Tuesday morning. Moving now towards downtown, mostly clear for your driving conditions heading on Ocean Drive as well as on SPID heading on Saratoga. Moving now on over towards Flower Bluff, pretty much the same thing, looking to be pretty clear on Flower Bluff Drive, but again on Waldron Road, there's some small areas where you're going to encounter a little bit of some medium speed, and as you start to approach the gate at NAS Corpus Christi, a bit the same conditions there as well. Then heading on to the JFK Causeway going to and from the island, looking at easy driving conditions with no issues with traffic flow at all throughout those areas this morning. I have more details in your forecast coming up in the next few minutes.
Commissioner controversy continues in Kingsville. I'm Tyrese Bull, and I'll tell you what some had to say after Monday's commissioners' meeting.
Now, weather on the 6s.
Good morning. Now taking a live look outside. Our Whataburger Skycam pointed over towards downtown Corpus Christi. You can see some thick cloud cover right now due to that moisture that's increasing here in the area, but it's going to solve a good problem for us here. We need some more rain here in the forecast, so thankfully those clouds are going to bring that over the next few hours right now. But waking up, things are going to be off towards a dry note, but those showers are happening, just not quite making it towards our inland neighborhoods or anywhere inland at all here in the coastal bend just quite yet. Looking at Doppler radar, we can see that rainfall action is happening for areas that are off towards the coastal waters, still in the Gulf. Shower activity is going to slowly start to reach towards neighborhoods like Seadrift, Victoria Crossroads, Bay City, and nearby Houston first before it reaches us here in the coastal bend. But we'll start to see some isolated showers begin to pop on in over the next few hours, certainly by this afternoon. But heading out the doors is what you can expect forecast-wise for your temperatures, reaching towards those upper 70s to lower 80s by the time we get towards around 8 o'clock this morning. Later on in the morning hours, see those temperatures gradually increasing towards those upper 80s, then those low 90s as we get towards 2 and 4 o'clock this afternoon. So again, conditions are going to be once again in that hotter range for our air temperatures, maybe reaching nearby 94 degrees for our afternoon high temperature here in Corpus Christi. Feel like temperatures still going to range towards those triple digits just because of that moisture and humidity that's going to continue to be in place here in the region. So we'll see very humid to oppressive zone for our dew point values all throughout this week heading towards this weekend, but that's also going to be tied towards that moisture increase that's going to help us out with our rain chances as early as today. So looking at Future Tracker, we can see right around lunchtime, potentially can see some showers begin to pop on in nearby Sinton, just a little bit south of Beeville and portions of Bee County, and then heading towards this afternoon towards 2 o'clock, again more widespread isolated showers that will start to break apart and push on through for our inland portions of the coastal bend. But like I said, heavier rainfall is going to be a bit more concentrated for areas north of the coastal bend, nearby Seadrift, Victoria, as well as Bay City and nearby Houston. But we'll still get a nice dose of some isolated showers that will last throughout most of our afternoon, then dissipate as we head towards our evening hours. But after that, our rain event isn't over yet. Still looking at a good, decent chance of having showers in that forecast ahead for us tomorrow on Wednesday and on Thursday. Rain chances will decrease ahead for us on Friday, though, looking at drier conditions briefly coming back to the area. And then as high pressure starts to decrease for areas that are further off towards the east, eastern part of the U.S., that's when our rain chances will increase yet again for us for the weekend and to the early part of next week. So right now, what's going to drive our weather pattern this week and into the next is not only going to be moisture that's right now increasing the area, but it's also what's going to be what's happening in the upper levels of the atmosphere. Right now, high pressure is dominating eastern portions of the U.S. It's causing that intense heat dome and extreme heat danger that's happening over in that area. For us here at home, just going to see a little bit some intense heat in terms of what's already kind of the norm for what we're used to experience here with those temperatures reaching those lower 90s. But again, as high pressure begins to shrink and be less dominant ahead towards eastern portion of the U.S., that's going to help us out with our rain chances ahead for the latter half of this week and towards this upcoming weekend and even extending to the early part of next week. So rain chances are going to be looking pretty decent over the next 6 to 10 days here, thankfully. But right now, we'll be looking at still intense heat, so you still want to make sure you're practicing heat safety with temperatures reaching towards those mid-90s. Feel like temperatures well towards those triple digits, but keep the umbrella in hand for those stray pop-in showers.
All right, Julia, thank you so much. And as temperatures rise and summer heats up, some medications don't mix well with heat. Coming up on Sunrise, we'll show you which ones so you stay safe.
Now, say hello to your neighbors. This is your Chris 6 News Sunrise Shoutouts.
Shout out to the Chris 6 Sunrise team. This is Rogers Barbershop. We're out here in Annandale. We just want everybody to have a good morning and have a good day. Good morning, guys. Good morning, everybody.
And we want to say good morning to our neighbors at Rogers Barbershop in Annandale. We hope you also have a great day. Now, folks, if you want to send us your own shout-out video, all you have to do is scan the QR code on your screen or go to our website, christv.com.
Well, dozens of health insurance companies have committed to making it easier for patients to get appropriate care. Who'd have thought? United Healthcare, Athena, Humana, along with other insurers, will take action to, quote, streamline the pre-approval process known as prior authorization. For those of you folks that have used it before, you know it's a headache. The participating companies have promised to work towards a common electronic prior authorization process, and the insurers have agreed to reduce the scope of claims subject to pre-approval, as well as ensure that plans honor existing prior authorizations for 90 days for patients who change carriers. The goal is for the new framework to be in place by the start of 2027.
As the summer continues to rise, the heat continues to rise, rather, so does your risk of getting sick. Mandy Gaither shows us why the heat and some of your medications don't always mix.
High temperatures, heat, and humidity can all affect the body, but some medications can pose an added danger.
People are doing their errands, they're overheated, they don't feel well, and they can get really heat exhausted pretty quickly, meds can have a significant impact.
The CDC says some medications interfere with the body's ability to regulate temperature, making it harder to cool down and increases sun sensitivity to the skin. Some medicine can also make a person more vulnerable to the heat by affecting the body's hydration, says Dr. Jesse Bracamonte with Mayo Clinic.
In some cases, if you're not hydrating, in certain meds can make you feel lightheaded and dizzy and nauseated. So it's really important to stay hydrated.
The CDC says medications that don't mix well with the heat include anticholinergics, some antidepressants and antipsychotics, antihistamines, beta blockers, diuretics, antibiotics, and antifungals. The heat can also degrade or damage some medications, including insulin, inhalers, and EpiPens. Bracamonte says to make sure they're being stored properly.
You don't want to leave any medications in the heat.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Hey there, good morning. Happy Tuesday. Now, a quick look at what you can expect in your forecast today. For your planner, things are going to gradually warm up with our temperatures eventually reaching those upper 80s a little bit closer towards midday and towards lunchtime. We'll also see a bit of an uptick in our rainfall chances for us over this afternoon, too. Isolated showers at best. Now, not everyone's going to see these rain showers that will pass on through the coastal bend. So just because it doesn't rain maybe in your particular neighborhood does not mean it's not raining at all, because showers are going to make their way to the coastal bend with that increase in moisture later on this afternoon. Temperatures will also increase ahead for us, getting towards those lower 90s, eventually closer towards those mid 90s for us here in Corpus Christi, with the afternoon high temperature of 94 degrees. And our rain event won't end with us today. We'll see a continuation of isolated showers that will look pretty decent ahead for us tomorrow and on Thursday. Rain chances will diminish shortly for us on Friday before increasing ahead for this upcoming weekend, even to the early part of next week. So even though the heat's going to be an ever-present constant in our forecast right now, temperatures remain to be towards those lower to mid 90s. Feel like temperatures towards those triple digits. Just keep hanging on tight to the umbrella, because showers will continue throughout the forecast this week, even head toward this weekend and dabble into the early part of next week.
From Chris 6, this is 20 minutes of non-stop news.
Welcome back, folks. Thank you so much for joining us for our 20 minutes of non-stop news with the Hoffmans. I'm Brian Hoffman.
And I'm Michelle Hoffman. We'll check in with meteorologist Julia Quady in just a bit. But first, here's your neighborhood check-in.
I'm your neighborhood news reporter, Adam Beam. I've reported on Senate Bill 3 when it was in the House and bound for the governor's desk. Now what was planned as a full statewide THC ban is heading back to the drawing board.
Just before the midnight hour, Governor Greg Abbott turning the tables on Senate Bill 3. The legislation, pushed heavily by Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, would have seen a ban of all THC and hemp-based products statewide. Governor Abbott citing existing abuses of the law going unaddressed. The future of Senate Bill 3 during the special session isn't known, but there's optimism it will be reworked with a new focus on regulation.
Through testing, through products, ages, basically a lot more, structure around the entire program.
City leaders were expected to discuss the positions of 3 commissioners, Norma Nelda Alvarez, Hector Hinosa, and Leo Alarcon. As Chris 6 first reported, many were calling on the removal of all 3 commissioners. Now, all 3 commissioners now have 2 options. They either resign by June 28th. If they don't, commissioners will discuss holding a recall election at their next meeting.
While the headlines focus on war, people here at home are asking what it means to them.
Our gas prices are going to go up because of gas, of that, or
Maybe.
we're going to have a hard time finding some.
Is that what you're concerned about?
Part of it, too.
And that worry is already showing up at the pump. In Corpus Christi, gas prices have jumped nearly 25 cents in the last week, now averaging around $2.83 a gallon. Crude oil prices are also fluctuating, rising more than 7% Sunday, only to drop again 24 hours later.
I'm watching gas prices spike from, $2.20 and all the way to $3, back to $79. Man, that's what everybody seems to be talking about is, oh my God, Iran, they're bombing, and this, that, and the third. I'm just trying to make it from day to day.
They say news never stops.
Israel-Iran war update. Several countries across the World War III started tomorrow.
Especially when we can get it right at our fingertips. I'm Michaela Chavez, your Sunrise Neighborhood News reporter on the South Side, showing you how all of this is impacting kids right here at home.
TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat.
Everywhere.
I was just scrolling on TikTok, and then there was this person talking about the nuke and everything.
All at once.
They are so stressed out about what they're seeing and all the bombardment of information.
That's how some kids are feeling about what's going on in the world right now.
Moved into this region.
I feel nervous mainly because I don't know what is going to happen.
Some may not know too much.
I have a tablet, but it has parent control, so I can't get many apps, and when I do get apps, it's my mom has to put in a password.
Others may know more than plenty.
First, I thought it was fake, and two, I realized that it was all over the news too, so I'm like, oh wait, this is not fake, this is actually serious.
All of it, bringing up a deeper conversation. When should kids be exposed to this type of content? Well, I asked around, and a few parents shared their opinions with me.
My kids are probably a little too young to even have that conversation, so we probably won't even be, talking to them about what's going on right now.
The most common response I got was that there's no one age fits all in this situation. Every kid is different. So, what should you do if your kid wants to talk about it? 12-year-old Jack had a suggestion. To kind of talk to you guys about this instead of just seeing it on social media?
Probably the counselor.
Why do you think that?
Because they help you with your feelings.
And what type of feelings?
So to keep you not stressed or nervous or scared.
While some parents might be able to tackle the broader conversation on their own, others might need some extra support.
Professional counselors can help people build skills on how to manage their anxiety better. So give them other ways to cope rather than being hyper-focused or obsessing over an area that's negative.
Bill Helcher is the CEO of the Coastal Bend Wellness Foundation. He says once you're able to sort out what's true and what's not true, that's a good time for parents to step in and talk.
Help explain it, alleviate some of those concerns, and talk about what's really going on, and then get them back to what's important, being a kid.
If your kid is feeling overwhelmed by it all, help is available. The Coastal Bend Wellness Foundation offers mental health services, and I'll have that information for you on our website, christv.com. On the South Side, I'm your Sunrise Neighborhood News reporter, Michaela Chavez, Chris 6 Sunrise.
Hey there, good morning. Happy Tuesday. Heading out the door, things are going to be dry for now, but that is set to change later on by this afternoon for sure, with those isolated showers finally making their way here into the Coastal Bend. Right now, taking a look at Doppler radar, we can see where those showers are happening right now. Not anywhere here in the Coastal Bend just quite yet. Those showers are still kind of just sitting near off towards our Gulf Coast waters, eventually making their way to areas that are north of the Coastal Bend first, then eventually pushing their way through our home and our area here later on. Again, a little bit closer towards lunchtime, but for now, things are going to remain to be dry over the course of our morning. Right now, looking at our temperatures across each and every neighborhood. Here in Corpus Christi, sitting at 75 degrees, as well as Beeville, 83 over in Port Aransas, 75 degrees is your temperature over in Alice, 80 over in the Bluff. Calm winds, fairly light all across the area too, that will eventually pick up by this afternoon, pretty much the same fashion as they did yesterday on Monday. Right now, of course, we got that sunshine starting to come on through, a bit of a mix of some cloud cover for now that will break apart later on, allowing for mostly sunny skies by this afternoon with the mix of those isolated showers that will pass on through in the afternoon too. Looking at our feel like temperatures by this afternoon, we'll see things will feel pretty much the same as yesterday, reaching towards those upper 90s and lower 100s. So things will still be pretty hot. It is summer here in South Texas, so it's nothing that we're not already used to. But going towards the most important part of our forecast is going to be those rain chances that are going to increase a little bit closer after lunchtime and remain to be a bit promising, especially for inland neighborhoods over the course of our afternoon, then dropping off heading towards our evening hours. Then we do expect our rainfall activity to hopefully pick up again for us by the time we look towards your Wednesday morning and Wednesday afternoon. Right now, isolated showers look to be pretty promising, not only today, but throughout most of our midweek and heading towards this upcoming weekend. But for today's forecast, looking at high temperatures reaching towards 94 degrees here in Corpus Christi. Again, looking at mostly sunny skies when we aren't seeing those isolated showers that will pass on through here into the area. Now, what's dominating our forecast leading towards the weather pattern that we're going to see here in the area isn't only moisture and humidity, but also high pressure that is right now dominating the east coast of the U.S., giving them a bit of a heat dome effect with some very dangerous high level feel-like temperatures right now throughout those areas. But for us here at home, as high pressure starts to shrink in its strength, that's going to actually add towards why we'll see a little bit more cloud cover coming in the forecast, and eventually better rain chances that will improve certainly ahead for us up towards this upcoming weekend. So right now, rain chances look to be pretty decent daily, really just diminishing only on Friday before they uptip again ahead for this upcoming weekend. But again, still make sure you're still practicing heat safety as things aren't towards that dangerous level, but heat still is going to be present in the area.
Now, 6 things to know before you go.
Thanks so much, Julia. So with all the news out there right now, here are the 6 things you need to know.
Even though Israel and Iran have announced they have accepted a ceasefire plan by President Trump, the president claims the two have already violated it. Now, President Trump announced on his Truth Social platform that there is a total ceasefire agreement between Israel and Iran. This just hours after Iran launched retaliatory strikes at a major U.S. base in Qatar. On his social media platform, the president said there would be a complete and total ceasefire for 12 hours. He said at that point the war will be considered ended.
Well, the House and the Senate will receive a classified briefing on the conflict in Iran this afternoon. The meeting comes after the U.S. bombed 3 Iranian nuclear sites over the weekend, and Tehran responded by launching missiles at the American military base in Qatar, like Michelle said. Those missiles were successfully intercepted and no casualties were reported. Lawmakers have been at odds over U.S. involvement in Iran. Republicans have largely backed Trump's bombings, while Democrats have largely been critical of the move. 2 representatives have already introduced resolutions to prohibit U.S. involvement in Iran.
Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell is set to testify in front of Congress today about the state of the economy. It's a semi-annual testimony the Fed chair delivers on monetary policy. Powell is expected to speak about the Federal Reserve's efforts to lower inflation and its decision to hold interest rates steady. Now, rates have remained unchanged for the past 6 months at 4.25 to 4.5%, despite the Trump administration pushing for a cut. The Fed has said it expects to enact 2 rate cuts sometime this year.
Well, the Oakview Group selects Hilliard Law as the finalist for the American Bank Center rights. Oakview Group is a full-service venue management and hospitality company hired by the city to manage the center. Hilliard Law will soon enter into negotiations to formalize the agreement. According to the city, this comes after a comprehensive and strategic search process. The city adds that this is a step forward in establishing a long-term partnership. More updates, of course, will be given at today's City Council meeting, so stay tuned.
In preparation for the current hurricane season, the Corpus Christi Public Works Department will be hosting a sandbag distribution event this weekend. It will be Saturday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. at Cabinus Athletic Complex. Neighbors can receive as many as 8 free sandbags per vehicle.
Well, a pavement improvement project is underway in Rockport. TxDOT crews are working to install new pavement on State Highway 35 from Broadway Street to Copano Bay Bridge. Work will continue until Saturday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Message boards are in place to let neighbors know of the upcoming construction. The project is expected to be completed in about 2 weeks.
All right, now taking it outside, looking at our view atop our sky cam over at SPID. You can see hints of that sunrise beginning here in the coastal bend with a mix of that cloud cover. Now kind of sitting more with mostly cloudy or partly cloudy skies. But we'll see some more sunshine later on today for sure, with some isolated showers that are expected to pass on through as well. Let's go and take a look at, though, and focus on our traffic flow maps right now. You can see heading from Portland over to Harbor Bridge, things are moving pretty well with no traffic issues. Moving out towards downtown, same thing, thankfully, on Ocean Drive down to SPID and Saratoga with no traffic issues or slowdowns on any of those 3 roadways this morning. A little bit different heading on towards Flower Bluff, a little bit more backup heading throughout portions of Walton Road, so you may want to keep that in mind. Heading towards Flower Bluff Drive, though, all clear on that roadway, and just a bit of a slow down happening as you start to approach the gate at NAS Corpus Christi. Heading to the last view now, going from the JFK Causeway, heading to and from the island. Again, looking at pretty easy driving conditions right now heading out your door. That's it for your traffic report. More details of your forecast coming up.
Julia, thank you so much. So schools are out for the summer, and while it means fun in the sun for kids, it can also be expensive for parents as they juggle childcare needs. Data shows that costs skyrocket for parents during the summer. Jen Sullivan has tips to help you save, though.
Year-round childcare costs in the last 5 years have gone up 29%, according to a recent survey from Child Care Aware of America. Last year, the average price of childcare was more than $13,000.
Parents are having to juggle their kids being out of school, and now they're not in just after school care. They're needing care all day long.
And summers can be particularly expensive for parents. Beth Klung-Piable works at Savings.com. She's also a mom and knows firsthand how challenging the summer months can be.
It takes a lot of planning, and if you can do that in advance, then it's really helpful.
Savings.com recently conducted a survey and found child care costs increase over 300% in the summer months for a typical family.
These parents told us that they set aside all year long, so a little bit out of every check goes toward those increased expenses in the summer.
There are a few ways parents can save. Lean on family and friends for help. Many camps offer scholarships. Most public libraries offer free drop-off programs. And check out the programs at your local YMCA. And if you're looking for free activities, most public parks have free splash pads, and some museums offer free days.
Kind of plan around, these are the free events that we're going to load our summer up with, and we're going to have a great time, but it's not going to break the bank.
And if you're looking to do a family trip, Klung-Piable says hotels and airfare tend to be cheaper towards the end of August. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Well, summer is here, but soon the kids will be heading back to school, right? Which means back to school shopping. Well, Target says it plans to hold prices at 2024 levels for many key back to school items this fall. The retail giant made the announcement Monday for the upcoming school year. Its popular list of 20 must-have school supplies, adding up to a total of less than $20, will return. Target says shoppers will be able to find a wide variety of affordable products starting at just $5. Also returning the 20% off student and teacher discounts.
Here's a look at what's trending now. Check out these newly released images of space. Ooh. They're from the largest camera ever built. They're from the Vera C. Rubin Observatory, based on a Chilean mountaintop. The test images offer an unprecedented look at light from millions of stars and galaxies, and they come from about 10 hours of observation. Rubin's website says its mission is to create a time-lapse record of the universe over a period of 10 years. That's really interesting. Beautiful, though.
Gorgeous.
Oh my gosh.
You know those little paste-on glow-in-the-dark stars that you would put up as a kid? No. I want that on my ceiling right there. Those images.
They have projectors now that kind of. It doesn't do it justice, let's be honest.
It a little
but yeah, it could set a mood.
Better than the stars, at least, right?
You think for sure? That's gorgeous. That's so pretty. Yes, for sure. Cool. I think this view that we're getting right now, too, you can see behind me from Whataburger Field.
That is pretty.
Yes,
it's shaping up to be a gorgeous day.
Lots of sunshine later on. Starting out now, some partly cloudy skies, but all that moisture is going to lead to extra cloud cover, which is eventually going to lead towards an increase in our rain chances later on today. That's going to be consistent throughout the midweek. Right now, again, looking at this gorgeous view, though, from our Whataburger Field sky cam over the Harbor Bridge there, we can see a mixture of that cloud cover right now that's going to kind of build throughout most of our morning and then break apart later on heading towards this afternoon. We'll be looking at mostly sunny skies with those chances to see some isolated showers later on in the day. Right now, looking at those dew point values, it kind of explains why we're looking at an increase in cloud cover and eventually our rain chances right now. Moisture and humidity means a bigger increase in our feel like temperatures as well as our dew point values. So we can see that right now happening towards them reaching into the low to mid 70s right now, well towards our oppressive zone. So that's just going to add towards why things will be feeling a bit heavy right now heading out the door. But again, it's going to help us out with our rain chances in the upcoming hours. Looking at now our temperatures heading throughout some of our neighborhoods here in the coastal bend. Over in the south side, temperatures right now sitting towards those upper 70s to low 80s. Same thing happening over in Flower Bluff. Not going to see a big difference in temperatures across the area. You guys are waking up right now to temperatures in the lower 80s. But again, feel like temperatures might be a little bit increased from that range, though, because of that humidity coming in with those higher dew point values. But what does this all mean for your dog walking forecast? Let's go ahead and introduce our star for this morning. We have Cash over at the water, maybe helping to take a dip, maybe to get a bit of relief from this heat that we're all going to feel later on this afternoon. But let's go ahead and look at what these conditions are going to look like over the course of our morning. Right now, things are going to remain to be dry for the most part. Rain chances not coming into later on this afternoon. So we'll just see a bit of that breaking apart of that cloud cover, allowing for partly cloudy and then eventually mostly sunny skies later on today. We'll also see our temperatures also increase, getting towards those upper 80s, eventually those lower 90s a little bit closer to midday. And similar to yesterday too, starting with those slower wind speeds that will eventually increase towards around 15 to 20 miles an hour later on this afternoon. Looking at a high temperature of 94 degrees, again, mostly sunny skies as those clouds begin to break apart later on in the day. Also with that increase in moisture, isolated showers that will begin to pop in again a little bit after lunchtime. That's going to continue over the course of our afternoon before our rain chances will drop off heading towards this evening and then pick up again ahead for us tomorrow on our Wednesday. So things are going to be looking pretty promising rainfall wise, hopefully here in the coastal bend. Not looking at anything crazy in terms of our rainfall accumulations, but still daily rainfall chances. I think we still will never shy away from that and be like, oh, that's nothing. We'll always appreciate rain here in the coastal bend and have more isolated showers again coming towards next week.
And we definitely appreciate it when it's in the right spot.
Yes, we did in the right spot. Right now it looks good. The models are showing that's going to push pretty decently towards the inland neighborhood. So fingers crossed those models are going to hold true.
Nice. Thank you very much, Julia. And hey, thank you for tuning in. I hope you have a fantastic Tuesday. Stay up to date on KrisTV.com. We'll see you soon.